Well, you may have heard by now, Josh Hamilton is back in Texas, and fan reaction has been far from friendly. Today, Hamilton and the star-studded Angels look for their second win of this season. Meanwhile, the revamped Texas Rangers aim to prove they can beat anybody in the American League West. They look for their fourth straight win today, and we welcome you to Fox Saturday Baseball. Rangers Park on a spectacular Saturday afternoon in Arlington, Texas. Game 2 of this series, the Angels and the Rangers. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Tom Verducci, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Major League Baseball here on Fox. And yes, indeed, Josh Hamilton returned to Texas here yesterday. He wondered what the reaction might be. Clearly not exactly what he may have wanted.
No, he was not welcomed here. In fact, it was so noisy here with boos that Josh Hamilton said it was louder yesterday than it was for a postseason game. The noise Mike Scioscia wants to hear is coming from Hamilton's bat because so far that's been quiet. Both Pujols and Josh Hamilton just 2 hits in this young season.
As for the Rangers, they lose not only Hamilton, they lose Mike Napoli and the veteran Michael Young. But Ron Washington was pretty clear this morning with us. He believes his team can still win this American League West.
Oh, you can tell he likes his team, Tom. And they may not hit as many 3-run homers, but they'll be very aggressive on the bases. And as far as that veteran leadership goes, he's got Lance Berkman and A.J. Pierzynski, new to the club, but veteran proven winners.
So we'll see how it goes today here in round 2. The Angels and the Rangers, all the pomp and circumstance of opening day. Texas rallied late to win it, thanks to Joe Nathan in the night. Round 2 coming up on Fox. Baseball season here in 2013, and the hometown Rangers are taking the field. And you could not ask for a more spectacular weather day than we have here in Arlington. 72 degrees. The wind could be a factor at 17 miles per hour, gusting up to 30 miles per hour. So we'll keep an eye on that. Right now blowing in from right center field. Take a look at the Angels starting lineup, brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Trout in left field, Ibar at short, Albert Pujols at DH today. 5-year Ranger Josh Hamilton at right, Mark Trumbo at first, and Howie Kendrick at second. A ladder third of Alberto Callaspo, Chris Iannetta, and Peter Borges, his second straight start in center field. Our opening pitch on this opening weekend here on Fox, brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. And the man who will throw the first pitch, an 18-game winner a season ago, started opening day this year. Grew up just outside of Durham, North Carolina's left-hander Matt Harrison. Those are the numbers from the opening game loss on Easter Sunday night in Houston. And that is the only game the Rangers have lost in their first 4 of the year.
Well, Tom, when he's on, it's a busy day for the Texas infielder. Stay grounded. That two-seamer, he gets a lot of ground balls off of that. Speed trap, one of the toughest pitchers to run on in baseball. Very quick to the plate last year. Allowed only 1 stolen base the entire season.
So we're just about set to go. Mike Trout to lead things off for the Angels, who opened their season in Cincinnati. They won on opening day in 13 innings by a count of 3-1, and then lost the next 2 against the Reds, both in 1-run decisions, and then another 1-run loss here in the opener of this series against the Rangers yesterday. Trout, like many of the Angels batters, off to a slow start. 5 of 19, coming off a spectacular rookie year. The unanimous winner of the American League's Rookie of the Year award, and was second in the MVP balloting. First pitch down low, and we are underway. Wally Bell calling the balls and strikes. Larry Vanover at first, Tony Randazzo at second, and Manny Gonzalez is at third. On the ground at Kinsler, and 1 out.
It's exactly the kind of start Matt Harrison wanted, not just keeping him off base, but the way he did it, throwing that sinker down and away. You know, he did strike out 9 his last time, Tom, and I kidded with him. I said, what, are you turning into a strikeout pitcher now? And he said, well, no, I didn't do that by design, because he's really not a strikeout pitcher at all.
Eric Ibar a season ago hit .290. Had 8 home runs, 45 batted in, 20 stolen bases. A very good bunter. Shows bunt, pulls it away. It's in there, a strike. Ibar, along with the Rangers' Nelson Cruz, both members of the WBC champion Dominican Republic squad during the World Baseball Classic this year. And you can see that wind already. It will play a factor sooner or later, more than likely today.
Yeah, it's interesting. And you mentioned it blowing in, and certainly the flags at the top of the stadium show that. And I asked David Murphy, who's got obviously a lot of experience here in the outfield. He said that actually means the ball's carrying out to right field. In other words, that ball comes over the top, the wind comes over the top of the stadium, and the background behind home plate actually turns it around. And he said he's never been here where the ball did not carry to right field. Great hitter's ballpark.
Well, it was flying out of here, no doubt about that, during batting practice today. And that ball's in the air to left center field and hit a ton. And this ball will go 1 hop against the wall. And Ibar will pull up with a 1-out double.
I'll tell you, if I could pick one spot in a batting order to hit it in the major leagues, it's the one that Eric Ibar has. Hitting in the 2-hole behind Mike Trout, and with Pujols and Hamilton behind him, that doesn't get any better than that.
And that's a big question mark for this Angels team. Who would bat in the 2-hole? Going into spring training, they floated around with Ibar, talked a little bit about Howie Kendrick, maybe Callaspo. All of them have their strengths and weaknesses. But to begin the year, it's Ibar. But none of it matters at the top if the big fellas in the middle aren't driving them in. And for Pujols, Hamilton, and Trumbo, it has been a very quiet start. All one away to Albert. Now in his second year after signing the free agent contract, leaving the only team he'd ever played for, the St. Louis Cardinals. Got off to the terrible start last year. And along with Hamilton, through 4 games anyway, Not a lot of noise from that duo. Pujols 2 RBIs, only 1 hit. Did not hit his first home run in an Angels uniform last year until May the 6th. But of course, when all is said and done, became the first player in the history of Major League Baseball to hit 30 or more home runs in each of his first 12 years in the big leagues.
Yeah, this is the last of their worries, and you talk about quote-unquote slow start this year. He's actually hit a bunch of rockets. Hit a ball yesterday to Andrews at shortstop that almost handcuffed.
Straight away center field, and that one will fly long gone to dead center by Pujols. His first home run of the season, and the Angels lead 2-0. Pujols now 24 home runs shy of 500. And based on that reaction you just heard, one guess as to who's digging in.
Well, really, I believe a lot of that reaction stems from a comment he made in spring training in which he said this is not a baseball town. We saw a lot of signs to that effect yesterday, reminding him of that statement. The irony, of course, is that Josh Hamilton helped turn this into a baseball town.
Tell you one thing you have to admire about Hamilton, he did not back off in any way, shape, or form when he was asked about those comments yesterday. He said, look, I stand by him. He said, I'd love for the Rangers fans to turn out $3 million a year for the next 25 or 30 years. He said, but I still believe when all is said and done, it is a football town.
Meanwhile, I talked to him about his anxiety yesterday. I think you're seeing it even more today. You know, he just mentioned that it seems very strange to be playing against guys he knows so well. Crowd obviously against him rather than with him.
And he draws the 1-out walk. First time that Hamilton has reached base. Was hitless yesterday, struck out a couple of times. Back to the Pujols home run.
Yeah, we talked about Harrison being a two-seam guy, wants the ball down, knees and below. Obviously missed his spot right there. See this pitch up. I believe there's no better high ball hitter in baseball than Albert Pujols. Now you can make the case he's the greatest hitter of his generation regardless, but especially on those balls up, he does not miss.
Did that young man hit the cutoff man?
That young man, I think he had as many catches and assists last year as Mike Trout. I mean, he's out there all the time on that Berman center field. No one's faster getting to the ball to him.
In the air, right field. Will that one carry out of here? Yes is the answer. Trumbo the other way. And it is 4-0 Angels. First home run of the year for Pujols, and now the first home run of the year for Trumbo. And you pointed out, the ball obviously is carrying out of here. Pujols, and now Trumbo shooting it to right.
Yeah, again, a mistake. Ball left up in the zone, and you're right. There's a jet stream going out there to right field, but I'm not sure it needed any help. This guy has as much raw power as anybody in the game, and when you leave a ball up to Mark Trumbo, you're going to need a new one.
Trumbo led this Angels team in home runs a season ago with 32 of them. They knocked in 95 runs, and that was for a young man who really did not have a position. He was bouncing around all over the place, left field, right field, third base, DH. And now Howie Kendrick. 4 straight Angels rather, have reached, and 4 straight have scored.
Well, Tom, if you talk to people before the season about the blueprint for this Angels team, this first inning would have been it.
A That'll be handled by Andrews, and his throw to first in time.
The only team in baseball with 4 players in their lineup that hit 30 home runs last year. You see that power on display here in the first inning.
You know, you hear so much about all the stats, but one stat that a lot of people are paying a lot of attention to now, Tom, on base percentage. The average position player last season, the OPS was 739. Last season, the overall major league leader, who else but Triple Crown winner Miguel Cabrera. And you see some of the other historical numbers, but why are teams paying so much more attention to that now?
Well, I think it's nice because it does combine, as you mentioned, on base and slugging. So for guys that get on base a lot by walks, if you look at batting average, it's not going to reflect that. And in terms of the slugging percentage, that's going to count, obviously, the doubles, triples, home runs more than just a base hit. So it will tell you a lot more than batting average. Just as a general rule of thumb, you saw the average there, OPS. You see Derek Lowe already up at the bullpen for Texas. About an 800 average, OPS average. You're talking about an all-star player. 900, you're talking about a guy in the MVP discussion. Over 1,000, you're talking about an all-time type of season.
Straight away center field off the bat of Callaspo, and this one is handled by Martin. And a rocky opening inning for Harrison. The Angels for the first time flexing their muscles. Pools a 2-run shot. Likewise for Trumbo. 4-0 Angels after a half inning. Angels a 4-0 lead after a half inning, and now the Rangers starting lineup brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live miles. Ian Kinsler, Elvis Andrews, and Lance Berkman now playing here with the Rangers after so many great years, of course, in Houston. Adrian Beltre at third, David Murphy in left, Nelson Cruz in right. Latter third of A.J. Pierzynski, Mitch Moreland, and Leonis Martin in center field, making his Angels debut after coming over in a trade from the Atlanta Braves. His right-hander Tommy Hanson. Well, it looked like when he first came to the big leagues with Atlanta, finished third in the National League Rookie of the Year balloting, that he was going to be another great one in a long line of great ones for Atlanta, but shoulder woes have really slowed him down.
No question about that. Now we'll take a look at velocity early on in the game to see where that arm strength is. Came over in the trade for Jordan Walden, and if you're a 26-year-old starting pitcher with the stuff that Tommy Hanson has and traded for a setup reliever, you know you've had diminished value.
Straight up into the outfield grass goes a shortstop Odbar.
And Kinsler retired to begin the bottom of the first inning.
You know, Hansen's your basic 4-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider, curve, change, but he needs that grade A fastball. Remember back in school, to get an A, you had to get into the 90s?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's where he needs to be. Low 90s is best. Last year he was in the upper 80s. Eye on the pitch count, and this could be related to some health issues he had last year, but last year, after 75 pitches, batters hit 338 against him. Just an indication he was not holding his stuff deeper into games.
On the inside corner, strike one. Elvis Andrus, 4 of 17 to begin the year with a run batted in. Rangers locked him up on a long-term contract just before the start of the regular season. And why wouldn't you? So young, so talented, already so much experience, despite his youth at 24.
Yeah, I just think the world of this guy. I mean, we talked at the top about their great aggressive base running, and Elvis Andrus is, to me, one of the best aggressive base runners in all of baseball. I think as he gets older, as you mentioned he's still very young, the plate discipline will improve as well.
Fastball off the inside corner, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Of course, he wasn't the only one. But there were a number of players around baseball that were signed to long-term contracts just before the start of the year. Justin Verlander, Buster Posey, along with this young man. There was talk about Clayton Kershaw. There's a roller circled by Ibar, and there are 2 away.
Well, it's certainly a trend in baseball. Keep your players, your best young players, away from free agency. Going back to guys like Joey Votto and Ryan Braun and Troy Tulowitzki. Very rare will you see a free agent in his prime, I'm talking about mid to late 20s, get on the market.
So now Lance Berkman. Berkman, all those great seasons after he left Rice University. Spent with the Houston Astros, a little bit of time with the Yankees. And then 2 years ago with the St. Louis Cardinals, signed to play there, had a great year, but last year hurt. And off to a good start this year, although he grounds out on the first pitch. And a good debut in the opening inning anyway for Tommy Hanson. is brought to you by the entirely new Ford Fusion. There's still one thing it can't do. And by Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live Moss. Chris Iannetta to lead things off. Now, this is one guy that's really swinging a hot bat. Starting on opening day, a home run, and then in the 13th inning, he broke a 1-1 tie to beat Cincinnati. The lone win so far this year for the Angels. Iannetta with a pair of home runs and 4 runs batted in to lead the team through the first 4 games.
Hit another home run yesterday. You don't see very often on a first pitch curveball. A lot of pitchers know most hitters will give you that breaking pitch for strike one. They're sitting on fastball. He jumped all over.
Two. Into center field, and a beat goes on to start this season for Iannetta.
Well, it's the same DNA. Another pitch up. After that half inning, Harrison went in the dugout and he had a conversation with AJ Pierzynski. See that one again up, actually out of the strike zone. And AJ, you could tell, he gave him a hand signal. Everything's up. Just get it down.
Peter Borges getting a chance to play center field every day after the free agency departure of Torrey Hunter. There's a bunt, and he can fly, and that's a bunt hit for Borges. That is the strength of his game, his speed. And after a good 2011, the wheels fell off for this young man in 2012. And this puts 2 on.
That's just textbook, the way he deadens the ball right here. Stays inside on the grass. No shot of going foul. Harrison's got no shot. He can put that in his pocket with Borges' speed. Two of the best bunters in the game on this team, as you mentioned. Ibar as well.
So 2 on, nobody out for Mike Trout. Once more, Derek Lowe is up and throwing in the Rangers bullpen. Trout grounded out to Ian Kinsler, the second baseman, his first time up. Rangers believe Trout might be bunting. No sign of it on the first pitch. Ball 1.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised the corner infielders are rolled up as much as they are. I mean, right now Mike Trout, he's swinging the bat for me. I'm not letting Mike Trout give himself up right here, even though it is first and second, no outs.
One and one.
The difficulty here, Tom, is that normally you play, especially with Harrison when he's got his good stuff, getting those ground balls for double plays. But with Trout's speed and Burgess not being held on at first base and how quickly he's going to get to second base, the odds are extreme to double up Mike Trout on anything other than a very hard hit ball right out of field.
Hard hit ball, but not right at Kinsler. Diving play. He'll get the out at first base, but in essence the same as a sacrifice. So runners both advance. Time now for a check back with Matt Vasgersian at the MLB Network studios for a game break. Hi, Matt.
Tommy, good afternoon. Nats and Reds a day after Cincinnati's 15-0 dismantling of Washington. Nationals up a run, bottom 9. Cincinnati scores on a Rafael Soriano wild pitch. Top of the 11th, the tie is broken on Ian Desmond's home run. Wilson Ramos adds a second home run moments ago to make it 7-5 Nats. Tom and Tom, back to you guys.
Matt, thank you very much. Angels started their season in Cincinnati losing 2 out of 3, and that's another good series in Cincinnati with the Nationals, who won 98 a year ago, and the Reds won 97. Infield in now for the Rangers. Eric Ibar doubled into left center field and scored on the Pujols home run. It's Iannetta at third, Borges at second. Soft liner in the center field, caught. Runner tags. Here comes the throw. It's way offline. And give Ibar the sac fly run batted in, plating Iannetta. And it is 5-0 Angels.
Nice job by Ibar right there. Not known as a run producer, but doing his job. Got a pitch that he liked to serve up into center field. I'm not sure there was a play at the plate, but as you mentioned, throw by Martin. No shot at getting Iannetta.
Look, Adrian Beltre's having a chat with Manny Gonzalez down there at third base. Wondering about Iannetta leaving a little bit early, so they took a look, said no. He tagged up. So now an intentional walk will be given to Albert Pujols in front of Josh Hamilton. Only Barry Bonds and Henry Aaron have been intentionally walked more frequently in the history of Major League Baseball than Albert Pujols. That's saying something.
That is some list, and that's the ultimate sign of respect.
Pujols a home run to straightaway center field. Brought up earlier, this time a year ago, his first in an Angels uniform. He did not hit his first home run until May the 6th. Hamilton walked and scored on the Trumbo home run an inning ago. Hamilton's only hit so far this season with the Angels was a 2-run single. And now a chance to drive in a run with Gorgeous out there at second base. Big shift put on defensively. Get a look at Kinsler out there in short right field, and Andrews playing to the first base side of the second base bag. 0-2 now to Hamilton.
Obviously, Harrison knows Hamilton very well. No one swings the bat more often than Josh Hamilton. So up on the count here, 0-2. I'd be surprised if anything for the rest of this at bat is in the strike zone.
Out of the strike zone, and Hamilton waves through it. But the Angels score once more and lead after an inning and a half, 5-0. Game on Fox, presented by Chevrolet, sponsored by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Welcome back to Rangers Ballpark in Arlington, Texas, and all the visitors so far. 2-run home runs in the opening inning by Albert Pujols and Mark Trumbo. Sac fly run batted in from Eric Ibar in the second. So now the Rangers trying to go to work against Tommy Hanson, who's coming off a perfect opening inning. Adrian Beltre to lead it off. You and I were talking on the way over here today, Tom, about the career that Adrian Beltre is putting together. Burst on the scene, of course, with the Dodgers. Inconsistent player at the time, then finally put it all together. Signed that free agent deal, which was nightmarish for him in Seattle. But ever since he's had the chance to first pass through Boston, land eventually here in Texas, his career numbers are starting to look Hall of Fame worthy.
I totally agree with that. And obviously, he's not anywhere close to having an end to his career. He just seems to be getting better. That year you mentioned in Boston where he signed that one-year deal, really reestablished himself as an impact hitter. Annually one of the best defenders at third base, the entire package. Reminds me of Scott Rowland. Maybe he's a guy who you didn't think early in the career had Hall of Fame necessarily type numbers, but as the career begins to build, you do look at and reassess and say he's right there with the Ron Santos and some of the other people in the Hall of Fame at the third base position.
Back-to-back 100-run batted in seasons as a Ranger for Beltre. Takes a 3-1 breaking ball that caught the inside corner, 3-2. High fly ball into left center field, playable out there for Trout. All right, Mr. Verducci, time now for our Ford keys to the game.
Well, Albert beat me to the punch here, but I was waiting for an RSVP from the MVPs talking about Pujols and Hamilton. Well, Albert Pujols has shown up to the party in the 2013 season with that first inning home run. And for the Rangers, I think against Hanson, power from the left side is going to be very important. Murphy, Moreland, and Berkman specifically. Hanson last year did have some trouble against left-handers.
David Murphy batting in that number 4 hole. Or the 5th spot, I beg your pardon, behind the cleanup hitter Beltre. Swung on and fouled back out of play. He had a nice year last year. I mean, the expectations as to what he might be able to do, they vary from, fan to manager to coach. But when all was said and done, in a team that led the league, led baseball in runs scored, as Murphy looks at strike 3, he was right in the middle of all of them. Pretty good year.
Absolutely, and I think early on he got pegged as just a platoon guy, and he can hit left-handers and will get more of an opportunity this season.
Meanwhile, a very good start for Hanson. He's retired the first 5, and this is Angels' debut. And now Nelson Cruz. 24 home runs, 90 batted in a season ago. First pitch swinging, pops it up, shallow center. Borges calls off Kendrick. Back-to-back perfect innings for Tommy Hanson. 5-0 Angels will return to Arlington after a word from your local Fox station. And a good start for the Angels. 4 runs in the opening inning. 2-run home runs by Albert Pujols and Mark Trumbo. Couple of hits. And a sac fly run batted in to make it 5-0 as we begin the third. Trumbo, Kendrick, and Callaspo against Matt Harrison has started. They've had Derek Lowe getting loose a couple of times already today. Well, one guy who didn't have any problems yesterday is kind enough to join us down in the Rangers dugout. And that's Derek Holland. Congratulations on an outstanding opening start to 2013.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. That was I had a lot of help though from my defense though.
94 pitches, you only allowed 6 hits, 2 runs. You know, Ron Washington was talking to us about that before the game today, Derek, the fact that he believes that you guys play defense as well, if not better than any team in the American League.
I definitely agree with him. I mean, we've got a really strong infield, great outfielders. I mean, I think we got the complete package. It's just a matter of you know, us clicking together and going from there.
Derek, I wanted to ask you about what it was like facing your former teammate, Josh Hamilton. With all the build-up to the game, you did punch him out twice. What was that like?
I mean, just to hear the ovation from the crowd when he got up, and then I actually kind of laughed a little bit because when he struck out, I mean, they erupted. I mean, I don't know what he said to him or what. I don't really follow all that stuff, but they went nuts, and it was pretty funny, and it was a great feeling too.
On the ground, nice pickup by Beltre. 4-time Gold Glove winning third baseman Adrian Beltre. In fact, he was given the Gold Glove that he earned from last year just prior to the game here today. And there's one of the guys, Derek, we're talking about that. I mean, anything hit down to that guy is virtually an automatic out.
He's a human vacuum cleaner. I mean, there's nothing getting by him.
You know, a lot of people feel, Derek, and Ron Washington hesitates to go along with this as Kinsler will gobble that one up for the second out of the inning. But with all the changes on your ball club, you know, he felt like you brought in some guys that are veteran players, that are winning players in their careers, whether it's A.J. Pierzynski, whether it's Lance Berkman, and that will fill the void for the number of players you lost from last year. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we did lose some key guys with Mike Leung and Mike Napoli. Those two guys were really huge to me. You know, obviously throwing at Napoli was great, and we had a good connection with each other. And then Michael Young was the same way. And I learned a lot of stuff from him when he was here. And, you know, we had Josh, too. That guy can carry a team by himself. I mean, it's just to have those guys lost and then have the guys come in and step up the way they have been. It's been amazing.
Derek, how about Harrison out here? He's got a couple of ground balls this inning, but it looks like they took advantage in the first couple of innings of balls up in the zone. What do you see?
Well, I mean, he did leave a couple up in the zone. Right now, he's changing everything. He's looking really good right now. But you know, it's a long game. You know, they got a couple off of him right now. But the main thing is he's just going to hold them down for us, and we'll try to get some runs back.
Now, we were asked not to have you do any impersonations today, so we're not going to do that. So I know a lot of Rangers fans are saying, "Come on, when are we going to get around to that?"
Yeah, they. Well, I've actually been criticized for doing impersonations on TV, and you know, I've cut back a little bit. Yeah, it's just how they are. You know, I am who I am. You know, I like to have a good time and enjoy myself. I take my job very seriously, but you know, I want to show these guys that how important this is to me, and I've changed my approach. You
know, on a serious note, I want to follow up on that because that was something that was talked about, written about a lot during spring training. How hard is that, though? Because you are who you are and have been for what? How old are you now? 27?
I mean, I look like I'm 16, but yeah, I'm definitely I'm 26.
26. Okay, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, you're 1 year off.
But is it hard though to kind of rein that in a little bit?
No, I still. I mean, even the guys see it in the clubhouse and in the dugout and everything. I'm still me, and I goof off all the time. I do Harry Carey all the time with these guys and Arnold, all that stuff. I have fun. Like that's the main thing is I want to keep everybody loose and have fun when we're playing the game. And yeah, I just don't do it as much on the TV. That's the big change.
Now, you grew up in Newark, Ohio.
Yep, believe it.
Do you know who the most famous person ever to grow up in Newark, Ohio is?
I'm going to go with maybe Woody English.
How about Wayne Newton?
Never mind. Yeah, I didn't know.
Mr. Las Vegas.
What's wrong with Derek Holland?
Thanks, guys.
There's nothing wrong with Derek Holland.
I'm going to go back home and everybody's going to tell me, how'd you not remember that?
But that's another guy that you've got to, you know, you get around to it. Maybe we'll ask you sometime in the clubhouse. Yeah. If you're going to be from Newark, Ohio, you got to be able to do a little Wayne Newton.
I'll have to practice that
Okay,
one.
all right.
Well, I want to know about the mustache. Do we have the beginnings of a mustache going on there? Is it coming back at all?
No, it's definitely it's on vacation right now. We took it away for a little bit, bring out the baby face.
1-2 the count on Iannetta, and it swung on and fouled out of play. Here's a look at the mustache from a year ago. Fans, what do you think?
Wonderful. I can't even see it.
It's a good look.
That and the mullet. Those were the two right there.
Well, on a serious note, Derek, continued success and continue to have more games like you did yesterday. I know there are a lot of folks here and around the area that really rooting for you. Fun guy, good guy. We appreciate your time today.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate you having me on.
All right. Derek Holland, kind enough to join us from the Rangers dugout. It is a 5-0 ball game. 5 runs, 6 hits for the Angels. No runs, no hits, no base runners for the hometown Rangers. 2-2 to Iannetta. And drawing a throw is Callaspo.
So it should be pointed out that Derek Holland was one of the pitchers who willingly signed up for the World Baseball Classic as a starting pitcher. You know, they've had trouble getting guys to sign on and get themselves ready that early. He told me he'd love that experience, would definitely do it again.
Swing and a miss, and that's all. A scoreless third inning for the Angels from Los Angeles. A hit a man left, middle to third. 5-0 LA. Chevrolet going back to 1996. Major League Baseball began here on Fox. And we'll carry you each and every Saturday throughout the entire regular season. The League Championship Series culminating with the World Series come October. A.J. Pierzynski to lead things off in his first season as a Texas Ranger. 6 hits, 14 at bats, already a couple of runs batted in. And Pierzynski, low these many years, earned his first Silver Slugger Award. Received that trophy before the game today, clubbing a career high 27 home runs in his final year with the White Sox.
He's one of these guys. He's a better hitter as he's getting into his mid-30s. Very unusual for a catcher. to hold up as well as he has. He's a guy who doesn't miss too many games either. This week he has not had a day off. He basically played himself into the lineup today with 3 hits yesterday.
Straight up. Left side of the infield. Cayaspo, the third baseman. 1 out. It's the third straight Angels pitcher to take the ball, making his LA Angel debut. 3/5 of this rotation gone from a season ago. The only 2 returning, their ace Jared Weaver, a 20-game winner last season, and C.J. Wilson, another former Ranger. Zach Greinke got away in free agency, of course, selecting not to come back to the Angels, signing with the Dodgers. Dan Herron, they let him walk. He was roughed up in his Nationals debut last night. And Santana's gone on to Kansas City. So they brought in Joe Blanton. Jason Vargas, who pitched well last season in Seattle, and made the deal to get Hansen from Atlanta.
And to me, Tom, those 3 guys, Vargas, Blanton, Hansen, they will tell the story of the season, 2013 season for the Angels. The power is great. The offense will be fun to watch. But what they get out of 3, 4, 5 in the rotation will determine how far they go. All 3 pitchers are really fly ball pitchers as well. One reason why they made the commitment to Peter Burgess in center field. They believe they have the best defensive outfield in baseball. All 3 guys can run it down. Hamilton, Trout, Burgess, really center fielders, 3 of them in the outfield.
2-2 to Mitch Moreland. Moreland batting in the number 8 hole here today after batting 9th yesterday. Leonis Martin waits in the on-deck circle. Still Texas searching for its first base runner, and this one hit a long way into right field, and Moreland will touch them all.
No-doubter right here. Breaking ball, middle, in and up. Moreland obviously knew it. This ball is way back in that upper tank in right field.
Moreland hit 15 home runs a season ago for the Rangers. As Martin shows bunt, pulls the bat away. It's in there for a strike. There was very little doubt as soon as it left the bat.
Tom, you buy a ticket right there, you're not expecting to go home with a souvenir.
You're right. Which today is very, very cool. I mean, when the summertime comes here, balls are flying out of here on a nightly basis. One of the great hitters' parks in all of baseball. They did a beautiful job with this park. Of course, it's hard to complain about any of them around Major League Baseball now. Virtually every franchise has had a new stadium. Many within the last handful of years, but certainly the entire all of baseball outside of Fenway and Wrigley over about the last 15 years.
Well, you might hear some pitchers complain about this place. This is definitely a hitter's park. Most runs scored in baseball last year, it was 3rd behind Colorado. Of course, you've got the altitude, and Fenway Park with the small dimensions, lack of foul territory. And again, it seems to be a bigger outfield, but plays smaller, especially to right field. We talked about David Murphy saying that jet stream going out to right field is there virtually constantly.
Martin a count of 3-2. Martin only 8 at-bats with the Major League club 2 years ago, just 46 at-bats last year. And it's strike 3, and he knew it. So 2 are out in the inning, and let's check in once more at the MLB Network studios for a game break. And our buddy Matt Vasgersian.
Tommy, ALCS rematch in Detroit for the Yankees. No Jeter, no Granderson, no A-Rod, no Teixeira. But Vernon Wells doing his part to keep the Bombers bombing. His second of the year, tying the game. All maybe Wells after all in the Bronx.
Wow. How
My
about
writers
that,
are
Matt?
still working, Tommy. Yes.
They are. Overtime. Have a lot of fun with Matt Vasgersian. I know you do when you go in the MLB Network studios.
That's guaranteed fun.
He imitates me on a regular basis, which I'm told that's something about flattery. Right?
And dead on, by the way.
Well, I get a chuckle out of him. He's a good man. 5-1 game. Angels in front of the Rangers. And back to the top of the order. Kinsler led off the Texas first inning, popping up to the shortstop, Ibar. That ball in the air. Deep left center field. Ford just looks up. Goodbye. So Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, is going to come out and visit with Tommy Hanson, who's allowed a long home run to Moreland. That one cleared the wall in the deepest part of left center field off the bat of Kinsler, his second of the year.
Well, again, I hate to repeat it, but the pitchers are repeating the location. Ball up. And on a day like today, on most any day here, but especially today, I mean, you got outfielders giving up on balls because they know these are no downers. 27 batters to the plate. 4 balls out of the park already.
Andrews now the batter. He bounced out to his counterpart his first time up. Elvis waiting, and the pitch. He is under the knees for ball 1.
You know, Tom, we started talking about Tommy Hanson looking for that grade A fastball, and it's a grade B fastball today. That was an 88-mile-an-hour fastball that went out. Haven't seen him really get above 90.
Good location there on the outside corner, a ball and a strike.
He can spin the ball as well as anybody in the game, so he doesn't have to rely totally on velocity. I don't mean to say that, but obviously much more effective when he can get that A fastball at 90-91.
Once more to the shortstop, Ibar, and that'll do it. But a pair of solo home runs in the inning, and the Rangers back in it. We move to the 4th, a 3-run Angels lead. the Jackie Robinson story. In theaters April the 12th. And by the U.S. Postal Service. Schedule your free package pickup today. We are in Arlington, Texas. John Moore, our director. Carol Langley McDermott, our producer. I'm Tom Brenneman alongside Tom Verducci and our entire Fox crew. Matchup of division rivals. It's been a homecoming tour for Josh Hamilton. And this will cap it off. And we were talking with Mike Scioscia before the game. Hopefully, after they get through, after initially stopping in Cincinnati to begin the year, where Hamilton, many forget, that's where he actually made his major league debut with the Reds following his 3 years out of baseball with drug and alcohol addiction. Reds gave him a chance. Had a good year for them. Came to the Rangers. And now he's here this weekend after 5 years in Texas. Then maybe he can just calm down a little bit. His team clearly is doing something today they have not done already in a game this year. And that's come out and hit the long ball. Pujols his first, Trumbo his first.
Yeah, I'm sure he's eager to get these games behind him and just get back to regular baseball.
Jam shot, roller at the shortstop, 1 out.
Yeah, I thought you saw that anxiety yesterday with maybe 4 outs and saw only 10 pitches.
So here comes Mike Trout. Grew up in Millville, New Jersey. Attended Millville High School. Went to the junior prom. Look at the braces. Very, very nice. Last season, you know the story there. Good offseason. Reeling in the big one. His high school field named after him in Millville. And guess who he lived with all winter? What do most 20-year-olds do in the winter? Live with mom and dad. There are 30-year-olds now that are living at home with mom and dad. I tell you, there's a different sound when the ball comes off of this guy's back. I mean, you'll hear some of the old timers talk about Willie McCovey and Willie Stargell, and there's some guys around the league. But having just seen him the last 3 days in Cincinnati, when this guy makes contact, it is loud and it is hard. Behind the bag, Kinsler. And unable to handle the throw in the dirt is Moreland.
Well, that's the dimension that really sets him apart. He is as fast down the line out of the right-hander batter's box as anybody in baseball, and Kinsler knows it. He's got to hustle, got to get rid of this as quickly as he can. So Moreland just isn't able to dig that one out of the dirt. Watch him get out of the box here. I mean, when he was drafted, there was a scout who watched Mike Trout play as a high school player and said if he hit a ground ball that made the shortstop go to his right, he was going to be safe. It was a hit. That one to the right of the second baseman becomes a hit.
Trout led the American League last year in runs scored. He also led the American League in stolen bases. He had 49 of them. Was thrown out just 5 times the entire year.
Again, we talked about Harrison allowed only 1 stolen base last year, only 4 attempts. It may be more of a hit and run situation than a steal attempt.
Meanwhile, it's been a good day for Eric Ibar. Doubled to left center field in the first inning, scored on the Pujols home run. And with a runner at third and 1 out in the second, hit a fly ball to center field to drive in a run. Pitch out. Ball 1.
Well, advantage Mike Scioscia here. On Washington guest thought maybe something was on first pitch. Now Mike Scioscia knows this should be a pitch that is near the strike zone for Ibar if he wants to play hit and run.
Saw Dino Ebel, the third base coach for Mike Scioscia, going through the signs, not running, blown away 2-0.
See, Harrison's made a good adjustment here in these last couple of innings, going to more off-speed stuff. Hasn't been able to really command that sinker as well as he likes. He's gone more to the breaking ball and the changeup.
Once more with the off-speed stuff and misses low and away. 3-0 to Ibar.
That shows you the confidence. He had more confidence there to get a ground ball out of the changeup at 2-0 than with the two-seamer.
Ibar taking all the way, 3 balls and a strike. Angels winners of 89 games a season ago, but not good enough to get into the playoffs for a 3rd straight season. Of course, the Rangers led the American League West virtually the entire year. As that one is off the leg, right to Beltre, and they get it out. Lucky break there for Harrison and the Rangers. 2 gone in the inning. And once more, here's Matt Vasgersian at the MLB Network studios for a game break.
Hunter Pence had a big old country breakfast today, Pally. Off to a good start in 2013. Homered Wednesday to help beat the Dodgers. Homers this afternoon. Tommy, that's the first and last time I do Brennomania all season long. It's my guarantee to you.
Now, why would it be?
I don't work that way. No requests. That's not how I work.
Okay. I wasn't requesting. I was just commenting that you do it from time to time, and I get a chuckle out of it.
Everybody in your truck wanted to hear it. That's it.
All right. Fair enough. So now they're going to intentionally walk once more. Albert Pujols, second time that they're going to walk him, and pitch to Josh Hamilton. How about that?
I think I'm back in the World Series, or maybe Ron Washington does. Don't forget that 3 home run game Albert Pujols had. Game 3 of the World Series 2011. Ron Washington really ordered his pitches not to challenge him at all after that. In fact, talk about this ballpark going back to that game. Albert Pujols, his last 15 games in this ballpark, has 8 home runs.
And you saw that note there about intentionally walking anybody who's hit in front of Josh Hamilton. And here twice in the game already today we've seen it.
Cover your ears. The big guy is up.
Hamilton made the comment after the game yesterday. He said, look, I've been through a lot worse. Of course, he's been through many, many dark days and nights in his life. Nearly lost his life to drug addiction, alcohol addiction. He said, so this isn't one of those things that's going to send me over the edge. But you could tell he was bothered by the reception yesterday. Swung on and fouled out a play. Now, some might say, well, look, he brought it all himself. Brought it all on himself. All he had to say when asked about Texas, great 5 years, loved every minute of it, which he did say. He said all of those things. But the comment about the baseball town versus football town, it really changed everything. And this one's popped up, and no one can get there. But what cannot be denied is what he did for this franchise. 5-time All-Star, leading the Rangers to their first 2 American League pennants. Who could forget the Home Run Derby back in 2008? Won the MVP, the ALCS MVP, won a batting title. 4 home runs in that game last year in Baltimore. Knocked in well over 500 runs in his 5 years. And he is gone swinging again. Friend turned foe. fourth inning. Angels in front of the Rangers 5-2. Angels got 4 in the first inning. 2-run home run by Albert Pujols, 2-run home run by Mark Trumbo, tacked on another run in the second inning on a sac fly run batted in by Eric Ibar. But in the bottom of the third, solo home runs by Mitch Moreland and Ian Kinsler, bringing the Rangers within 3, heart of the order. In inning number 4, Lance Berkman takes low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Berkman had all but announced his retirement after playing just 32 games last season through all the injuries, requiring a pair of knee surgeries, but he's lost a lot of weight. When the Rangers called, because of course Texas is where he makes his home, he thought, why not?
Oh, he was done. I talked to him about that, and he was much prepared to be retired. The offer basically was too good to be true, as you said. He couldn't pass it up. In his home state of Texas, very good team, obviously. I asked Lance, I said, if you weren't playing today, what would you be doing? And he said, I'd be coaching at Rice. Signed up to be a volunteer coach in the fall for Rice, his alma mater. And that's where he'd be.
Well, this guy has had such an outstanding major league career. Slugging percentage, only Mickey Mantle in the history of baseball among all switch hitters with a higher number in that category than Lance Berkman. Hammered down the line and into the corner. Berkman making a turn on his way to second base with a stand-up double to start the 4th. Mike Scioscia kind enough to join us from down in the Angels dugout. And well, Mike, it must be nice to see the big fellas, Pujols and Trumbo, get going with a long ball today. Well, Mike, it's got to be nice to see your big fellas getting the long ball here today.
Oh, no doubt. You know, it's an important game for us to get out early. The wind's blowing, the ball's really traveling, but we hit 2 good shots, got a lead, and hopefully we're going to be able to hold it.
Mike, what do you see out of Tommy Hanson so far?
Well, his breaking stuff looks very sharp. I think you know, he got his fastball elevated to Kinsler, and he's a good fastball hitter, and he didn't miss it, and hung a slider to Moreland. But outside of that, I think he's mixing them up, changing speeds and keeping them off balance. And, you know, we're going to get hopefully a bunch of the same moving forward.
Mike, thanks for the time. Good luck.
All right, guys.
Mike Scioscia, kind enough to join us in between innings down in the Angels dugout. And we really appreciate it. Mike has not done those before. Generally, he'll hand it off to his pitching coach, Mike Butcher, going way back to Bud Black when he was a pitching coach. But we appreciate Mike doing that for us here today. We appreciate all of those that do it. So now the Rangers one big crack of the bat away from being within a run. 2-1 to Adrian Beltre. Started to look like he went around. He did. Wally Bell was the one who said it's my call. He heard it from Beltre, he heard it from Juan Washington, and let everybody know that's my call, no appeal. Beltre wants him to check down there. He doesn't have to check.
Yeah, but a lot of hitters don't like that. A lot of hitters say, how can you see the pitch, the location, and see where my bat is? Beltre saying, why don't you ask? And you're absolutely right. Wally Bell doesn't have to ask. If he sees a swing, he makes the call. It's exactly what he did.
Two and two, Hanson against Beltre. Berkman out at second. Breaking ball popped up. Borges will get it for out number 1. David Murphy struck out looking his first time up.
And we talked about Tommy Hanson's arm strength and the velocity. He's got a very unusual way of throwing a baseball. It's certainly, and I talked to Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, about it, certainly nothing that you would teach. He takes the ball out of the glove. He actually brings it so far behind him that the ball is behind the rubber, and the arm sort of stops as if he's stabbing someone behind him with the baseball. So he doesn't have that sort of whip-like momentum from an arm swing that you typically would see. Like Butcher said, he actually brought him out to a side mound in spring training and had him do a drill to try to develop a longer, faster arm swing. He threw 2 pitches, Tommy Hanson did, that looked really good, but he said, that's it. Not comfortable with it. I can do it, but just doesn't feel comfortable. There's a lot of people that will tell you that that sort of motion does put strain on the shoulder. The guy that comes to mind, he throws very similar, Johan Santana. Of course, he's out for the season after a second shoulder surgery.
Fly ball into left field. Trout waits. 2 gone after the leadoff double from Berkman.
It's a fine line between wanting to change someone to keep them healthy and having them still be effective. You see the ball there, he takes it behind him before the body comes forward. So the ball is actually behind the rubber. And then it comes forward. It's another reason why we talked about base stealers to take advantage of him. That's another thing that Butcher worked with Hanson on in spring training. He came in spring training with a 1.7 time to home plate. You really want to get that down to about 1.4, and he did improve that. But again, a fine line. You want to be effective, but you also want to stay healthy.
Ball gets away from Iannetta, and advancing on the third is Berkman. I mean, you can see the uniform of Nelson Cruz just rippling in the wind.
This must have been a cross up here because this pitch gets a lot of the plate. Just doesn't react to the breaking ball. Two of them had a good laugh, so no harm as of yet. 2 outs.
Berkman stands at third. Rangers on the short end of a 5-2 game here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Hanson still works out of the stretch and right down the middle. One and two.
That fastball only 87, but well located. Cruz really likes the ball middle in. See him get just enough outside with this pitch. Cruz pulls off that just a little bit. Gets it by him at 87. Location more important than velocity right there.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Cruz. And that bounces up there and smothered beautifully that time by Iannetta.
Well, you said it. That's a run saver right there. Never sure where these breaking balls are going to go once they bounce in front of the plate, that far in front of the plate. Watch how high up it gets Iannetta. Great job down to the knees, gets that chin tucked down. Textbook block.
Straight away center field, got a bit off the end of the bat. And the inning is over. They waste a leadoff double. We move to the 5th in Arlington. 5-2, Angels in front. Chevrolet. Jam-packed in the Rangers ballpark in Arlington, Texas on this beautiful weather Saturday afternoon. Temperature at game time 72 degrees. And Mark Trumbo to lead things off. Well, the Angels in front 5-2 here in the top of the 5th inning. Hard hit ball, but right at Kinsler. 1 out. Trumbo, a young man coming out of high school, had signed a national letter of intent to play collegiately at USC. And most people felt like when he signed that he would become a pitcher. That's how highly thought of he was coming out of high school. And in fact, the Angels scout Tim Corcoran, who saw him play in high school, felt that that might be the way to go. But the more they saw his big bat through his senior year, they said, well, that's going to be the way to start him anyway.
Yeah, and then they brought him after the draft into Angel Stadium, and he was hitting balls up in the rocks where the big boys hit him as a high school senior. You saw that power on display today.
So now Howie Kendrick, and he takes outside. 3 things you need to know about Howie Kendrick. His late grandmother, he credits for his work ethic, a photographer, and a sports car enthusiast. And there's ball 4. So he can race up to first base. Well, tomorrow, the sports car enthusiast NASCAR heads to Martinsville, the second short track race of the season, where Daytona 500 champion Jimmy Johnson looks for his 8th career victory, while defending champion Ryan Newman looks to defend his title. Fox Sports exclusive coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing begins tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Time. AJ Pierzynski, the Rangers catcher, a big NASCAR fan. Florida guy. One on, 1 out, and here's Callaspo. Callaspo, originally an Angel, bounced around with Arizona, got a chance to play regularly at the big league level for the first time in Kansas City. Then the Angels got him back. I mean, not your prototypical third baseman who's going to hit a bunch of home runs and knock in a bunch of runs, but they've got a lot of other guys on his team that can carry that ball. 2-1.
And he's another guy Mike Scioscia has who can handle the bat. You can start runners with him at the plate.
Hit hard into deep left field, and that one will come off the wall. On his way to third is Kendrick. They're going to wave him around. Here comes the throw to the plate, and he is out at the plate. What a throw by Andrus, and what a pick by Pierzynski. With a runner right on him. AJ snatches it off the dirt and applies the tag to Kendrick, and it remains a 5-2 game.
Just an unbelievable throw by Elvis Andrus here. Watch this throw right on the money, and just the right kind of length on this hop to AJ Pierzynski. Nice long hop, puts it right on the money. AJ just needs to catch it and apply the tag. Well, that is textbook baseball. You could have a drill in spring training and not have it come out better than that.
It's funny, we saw a play in a game here yesterday, what turned out to be the winning run. As you see the sequence, starting with a good throw from Murphy to the cutoff man to the plate.
Give Howie Kendrick credit as well, because I know trying to score from first base on a double off the wall in left field, not easily done, but he read that ball extremely well. Had a good jump on it. That's a case where you make the other team make 2 perfect throws and a tag, and they did. You tip your cap.
Well, certainly the style of play for both of these teams, although in the last year or two, and certainly this year, the style of play for the Angels has changed dramatically from the time when Mike Scioscia took over this club as manager. He's the longest tenured manager in all of baseball, now in his 14th year with the Angels. But both of them very much believe in pushing the envelope, being aggressive on the bases. On the ground is short, and Harrison will wiggle off the hook in the 5th. Thanks to Murphy, Andrews, and Pierzynski to cut down Howie Kendrick. It stays a 3-run spread. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Bottom half of the 5th inning. Home team coming to the plate, trailing 5-2. 4 runs in the 1st inning for the Angels against starter Matt Harrison. On home runs by Pujols and Trumbo. They got a 5th run to the Angels in the 2nd inning on a sac fly from Eric Ibar. The Rangers scored both of their runs on solo home runs in the 3rd. Mitch Moreland and Ian Kinsler. So now Tommy Hanson, who's only allowed 3 hits in the game in this his Angels debut. He's fanned 2, walked none. Faces the latter 3rd in the batting order, starting with Pierzynski. Hit hard, and that will sail over the head of Josh Hamilton. And he fires a seed back into second base. A long, loud hit from Pierzynski, a single.
Keeps getting better with age as a hitter. I was kidding with him before the game. AJ hits in such an upright stance that he looks like a man trying to change a light bulb. Look at that. He's nice and relaxed. Rushes a 2-0 pitch right there, and that's respect for the arm of Josh Hamilton and a testament to how hard he hit that ball. Well, they asked AJ about that stance, and he said, I don't even know what I do. That's good. You don't want to think up there.
Well, he has had some kind of career. Breaking ball is strike one to Moreland, who homered to right field his last time up, his only time up so far today. Pierzynski leads all active players. Today his 1,563rd game behind the plate. It's always been one of those guys, you know, you love him or you hate him. I mean, he's that kind of a player, extremely vocal, intense, fiery, not afraid to challenge guys on his own team, and certainly not afraid to challenge players on the other team. First came up with Minnesota. Spent a year in San Francisco, didn't go well there at all. And then the last 8 seasons with the Chicago White Sox. In the air, right center field. Borges covers a lot of ground out there. Brought up this Angels defense. 3 center fielders roaming their outfield. But Pierzynski, 3 things you need to know about him. Of course, he caught Philip Humber's perfect game with the White Sox. Moonlights with us during the postseason if he's not playing here on Fox. And the quote loved by his teammates, Ozzie Guillen said, "You hate him when he plays for the other team. You hate him a little bit less when he plays for your team."
Yeah, maybe his personality rubs you the wrong way, but you cannot question the competitiveness of that guy. And again, the durability behind the plate is remarkable.
Leonis Martin takes outside ball 1.
And you mentioned 3 center fielders again. Hansen in a tough ballpark with the wind blowing out. This is typical Tommy Hansen. Only 3 outs on the ground today. He needs those 3 center fielders you mentioned behind him. It's somewhat of a risky bet, I think, by the Angels to devote so much of your starting rotation to fly ball pitchers. Obviously, you're going to give up home runs. You saw that with Joe Blanton. When you get in smaller ballparks like here and in Cincinnati, you're going to give up your share of home runs.
Now, Jerry Dipoto, their general manager, who maybe more so than any other general manager, or as much as any other general manager in baseball, is a big believer of really diving inside some of the numbers, sabermetrics numbers, if you will. And I mean, you know, you bring up Vargas, pitching in very pitcher-friendly Seattle, good success there. He will point out regularly that Angels Stadium is one of the 3 most difficult home run hitters parks in baseball. And now Ron Washington comes sprinting out of the dugout. We saw an exchange between him and Wally Bell on a swing from Adrian Beltre in the last inning. And now apparently it's continuing into the 5th.
Well, I think Wally Bell took exception to Martin being so demonstrative with the way he objected to that strike call.
All right, so Ron going back to have a seat. 1 ball and 1 strike meanwhile on Martin.
It's one thing to question an umpire, but if the body language announces to the crowd that you didn't like it, a lot of umpires take exception to that.
2 balls and a strike. You know, just to finish a thought on Jerry Dipoto and Angel Stadium and being so home run stingy, allowing fewer than 2 home runs on average per game last year. That one hooked foul. So he'll tell you that pitching at Angel Stadium is no different than pitching in Seattle. He'll tell you it's no different than pitching in Oakland. And when you bring in Joe Blanton, who's susceptible to the home run ball but throws a lot of strikes, fly ball pitcher, Hansen, same kind of thing, that he believes are going to be okay.
And there's no doubt that in that philosophy and thinking, the defensive metrics of Peter Borges definitely come into play. You think about what they've done to make sure that he is their center fielder playing every day. They moved Mike Trout to left field. They let Torrey Hunter leave. They traded Kendrys Morales. They traded Vernon Wells and ate $28 million on the contract. That's a lot of moves to make sure that Peter Borges is your everyday center fielder.
Right back to Hansen. They'll get an out at second, and that's all. 2 away in the inning.
And you're talking about a number 9 hitter in the lineup. And that's not to disparage him offensively. It's to compliment how important his defense is to this plan that the Angels have.
Well, the Angels, there's no two ways about it. Much like their brethren up the road in Los Angeles, they are spending a king's ransom to try and get back into the postseason. Last year, going out and getting Albert Pujols and C.J. Wilson, enticing him to lead the Rangers. And now this year, acquiring Josh Hamilton. 89 wins wasn't enough last year. Wonder what that number will be to win the American League West this year. Remember, it was a 4-team division last year. Houston now comes in for a 5th this season. The Rangers were one of the 2 wild cards in the American League. And Oakland, on the final day of the season, beating the Rangers, won the American League West. Is Oakland as good coming into this season as you saw last year? We don't have a crystal ball, but what do you think of the Athletics?
They're legitimate because of their pitching. There's no question about it. And I think Seattle is a better team. I think it's a 4-team race. And you talk to the Angels about the 2012 season, and they will go back not to the end of the season, but the start of the season, going 6-14. Those were the wins they wish they had. They finished 4 games out of the wild card spot. If they go 10-10 in those 20, just played mediocre baseball, obviously those are the 4 wins. You know, there's an old saying in baseball that you can't win a division in April, but you can lose one. And I believe, looking back on last year, the slow start of the Angels really penalized them, and you see it right there.
I mean, they went to 10 over for the better part of about 4 months, and then really closed well. They had a rocky stretch in there right after the All-Star break that hurt them. But that 6-14 start. A big reason why they failed to reach a postseason for what was the 3rd consecutive year. Second baseman Kendrick will handle it, and that is all. Leadoff single wasted. Go to the 6th. Still a 5-2 Angels lead. Find new roads. And by Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Back in the Lone Star State. I did not realize here in Arlington, and maybe they started it here, that as you get a look at the new pitcher who comes on, that they were playing deep in the heart of Texas in between innings here like they do down in Houston for the 7th inning stretch. Jason Frazier takes over on the mound.
I never get tired of that either.
No.
Neither do the fans.
No.
That is sung with gusto.
Matt Harrison, second straight subpar start for a man they're counting on heavily if they are going to contend inside the American League West this year. He gives up 8 hits, 5 runs, all earned runs. Walked 4, 2 intentionally. He struck out 3. Drifting back in deep left field is Murphy, and that one will fly out of here off the bat of Peter Borges. So batting down to that number 9 hole, a 2-hit day, including now a home run. And it's 6-2 LA.
He got a chance to play a couple of years ago and had plenty of extra base power, and you see he took advantage of a pitch that got a lot of the plate. That is a quick swing that Peter Borges has right there.
Back to the top of the order now, and Mike Trout. And it's in there to strike. You know, people forget Borges had a nice 2011 season. I mean, last year things went so bad for him, and they went so good for the guy who ultimately replaced him in Trout. But the easy thing to do for a lot of people is forget about that other guy. Well, he had 12 home runs. He had 11 triples, did Borges, in 2011. Stole 22 bases. Played spectacular defense in center field. And so, as Tom Verducci pointed out, there were a lot of moves made as that one's going to stay fair up the first base line and Trout retired. And the Angels are putting together their game plan, including in spring training with Vernon Wells knocking the cover off the ball in spring training. You know, the easy thing to do would have been play Wells out in left, leave Trout out in center. But they moved Wells, and it's Borges out there, at least to begin this year.
Well, you mentioned those extra base hit numbers. If you're talking about the number 9 hole in the batting order, you're putting up double digits in home runs and triples and hitting 20 to 30 doubles. That definitely will give you depth in a lineup.
Eric Ibar in from the left side, switch hitter, 1 of 2 in a game. He's doubled, scored, and knocked in a run. Joe Ortiz getting loose in the Texas bullpen.
But Tom, you will not see a first baseman play this close to the line, other than obviously protecting a lead late in the game. Look where Mitch Moreland has to play here at first base. It's all to protect against the bunt. I've never seen a first baseman that close to the line.
He'll back up now on a 1-ball, 2-strike count. I tell you, he is still right on that line, however. No more than 2 steps off of it. And how about that? They must know what they're doing in scouting one Eric Ibar.
They're not guessing. It's all based on information. And you can see it right here. That is perfect positioning.
And for fans wondering at home, I mean, you know, now in this age of video that we are in and computers and being able to edit and being able to watch every single game there is on television. You know, coaches, and there's a designated coach, 1 or 2 on every team, that will get the advanced scouting report from a team's advanced scout. They'll gather a lot of the video information. The video coordinators for these baseball franchises and football franchises, they become one of the most important people in the building now. And being able to stay on top of every little thing, not only for the guys on your team, but for players and scouting players on other teams. And so when you get on a team playing like flying in here, or the Rangers as they're getting ready for this series, one of the coaches, it is his job to tell every single infielder where they want them played when a particular batter comes to the plate. And there you saw evidence firsthand.
And it's very detailed information according to the pitcher, the type of pitches that he throws. It takes a lot just to digest all of that information. And obviously, that's done by most of the front offices, then into the coach's hands, and they have to distill it even further so that the players can use that information. It's not to say it's going to work perfectly all the time, and you see a lot of times teams defending against, obviously playing percentages. I saw this the other day with Elvis Andrus against Houston, where Houston played well off the first base line, similar to where Moreland's here against, maybe not quite that far, against Pujols. And he does shoot the ball down the line. He did get a triple down the line. Now, the percentages say he's not going to do that a lot, but you're opening up an extra base opportunity by covering a single. Looks great when it works, though. You see the shift on Pujols. He's become more of a pull hitter as the years have gone by.
Home run by Borges to begin this Angels 6th inning. A 6-2 Angels lead. And a foul ball out of play by Pujols. Well, here you're going to get a look at the shifting on the defense, depending on a player, and of course depending if the pitcher can hit his spots. That's really where it all starts. That's why the Braves used to overplay so much on defense during their remarkable run when they had guys who could pretty much put it on a dime in their starting rotation. But the overshift a moment ago with Ibar. Now 3 infielders to the left side of the infield with Pujols. You'll see the same thing on Hamilton if he bats in the inning.
And again, those numbers are updated constantly. I would not have expected a shift that extreme on Albert a couple of years ago, maybe especially 5 years ago. Last year, though, no home runs to the opposite field. And obviously, he can hit the ball out anywhere. We've seen him in some home run derbies, actually against batting practice pitching, hit the ball out consistently to right field.
Two and two to Pujols. And it's launched into left center field, and Pujols has homered for the second time today.
I think it's time to readjust those defensive shifts and put the left fielder out in the bleachers. Boy, Ron Washington has seen this time and time again. Albert Pujols now, last 15 games in this ballpark, 9 home runs.
Albert without a home run in this young season through the first 4 games. Hit a 2-run home run to center field in the first, and now a solo blast in the 6th. runs home here in the LA Angels' 6th inning. And the Angels with a 7-2 lead, matching their largest lead of the afternoon. They once led 5-0. Ortiz takes over on the mound. Hamilton walked and scored in the first. He struck out swinging each of the last 2 at-bats.
Speaking of shifts, see, obviously the infielder swung around, but the outfield not necessarily so. Tells you that when Hamilton hits ground balls to the right side, they're in the right position there, but he doesn't necessarily pull the ball into the right field corner in the air.
Three and 2 on Hamilton.
Once again, Josh swings the bat more often than anybody in baseball. I think sometimes he's better off having the umpire call him out. Chases so many 2-strike pitches out of the zone.
Down the left field line, and again they had it played perfectly. To pull in the infield, hit it the other way in the outfield, but you can't bring these back. Borges and Pujols, each with solo home runs, and the LA Angels of Anaheim lead 7-2.
Game break. Yankees Tigers 1-1 in the 5th. Phil Hughes had escaped a couple of jams. Can't get out of this one. New Tiger Torrey Hunter doubles home Austin Jackson. Tigers take a lead. They've added 2 more and are still threatening in the 5th. Another LCS rematch in San Francisco, Cardinals and Giants. St. Louis was down a run in the 5th when they got to Ryan Vogelsong for 3. 2 coming on this Carlos Beltran bases loaded single. Cardinal lead is now 5-2 as we get you back to Arlington and Tom.
All right, Matt Vasgersian, thank you very much. Bottom of the 6th inning coming up, and it's still Tommy Hanson on the mound. And this is Angels' debut, and he has been pretty solid. Only allowed the 2 solo home runs, both of them coming in the 3rd inning. But now the 3rd time through the order, and this is where Hanson ran into problems last year. 3rd time through a batting order. Opponents hit .366 against him. And there's a rocket into center field. Off the bat of Andrews. And Texas down 5 and no lead safe in this ballpark.
We talked about Hansen with that pitch count. 251 batting average up through 75 pitches, up to 338 after that. Now, I think some of that was influenced last year. He had a back injury. And I think Tommy Hansen pitched with that for a while before they actually diagnosed it and shut him down. And obviously, anything wrong with the back area for a pitcher, that's going to show up, especially as you get deeper into a game with your pitch count.
Lance Berkman, 1 of 2, has bounced out to first and doubled down the right field line.
He did have one start in spring training on March 20th where he felt tightness in that elbow. They immediately shut him down, gave him some days of rest, pitched him in a minor league game. It was more precautionary. But obviously, this is a point in the game they will watch him very closely.
You brought up the 3, 4, and 5 spots in the rotation is a big question mark for this Angels team. Many have wondered how good is their bullpen. Like the Reds, they brought in Ryan Madsen to be their closer. And the Reds brought him in last year. He never threw a pitch for him. Injured his elbow, underwent Tommy John surgery. The Angels rolled the dice to bring him in after having not pitched all of last year. He's not ready this year yet. It's one thing to say, well, we think here and we think there. Nobody knows. He is throwing the baseball. He is thrown off the mound a number of times, but not on a minor league rehab or anything like that. So you're bringing back a lot of guys in the bullpen who were part of Angel bullpens over the last 2 years that blew the most saves in the American League. 47 of them over the last 2 years. Now, they threw the ball well in Cincinnati. Bullpen lost the game here yesterday. But can that bullpen hold up?
Well, I think you make a good point about Madsen, because I think we get to the point where we're a little too cavalier about Tommy John surgery, and we just start counting the days on the calendar and say, okay, a year from surgery, he's going to be as good as new, throwing harder than ever. That's not always the case. You know, the rebound for Tommy John surgery is not 100%. You know, it's gotten into the high 80s, close to 90, but it's not 100%, and there are different schedules for different pitchers. And right now, Ryan Madsen's not close to coming back. He still is a ways off. Now, they're still counting on him at some point, but you're not sure quite yet until he actually gets out there on a game mound when that day is coming. Rangers in a similar position with Joakim Soria signed to really be a setup man.
Swing and a miss, and then a strike 3 to Berkman. We look inside some of the numbers of this Angels bullpen from the Mike Social last year. I mean, opponent's batting average, ERA, save percentage, strikeouts, near the bottom, if not at the bottom, in a lot of bullpen numbers.
Yeah, that last one really jumps out at me, Tom. The strikeouts. You need in today's game to have power arms at the back of your bullpen. You need to keep the ball out of play, keep it in the park. And other than Ernesto Frieri, who had a terrific strikeout rate, they just didn't have strikeout stuff in that bullpen.
Fly ball to left, fly ball to center from Adrian Beltre so far today. Angels with a 7-2 lead. We're in the bottom of the 6th, 1 on and 1 out. Runner goes, and no throw to second base. Andrews getting the steal, and 21 of them a year ago.
We talked about this at the top with Tommy Hansen. You see how slow he is to the plate. That's an easy bag right there.
Ron Washington has let it be known that his team will be extremely aggressive again. That was one of the big reasons why Texas went to the World Series in back-to-back years in 2010 and 2011 was the running game. I mean, they put enormous pressure on the opposition pretty much from start to finish. Now, some of those numbers really came down last year. Went from 123 steals to 143 steals, 10 to 11, not even 100 last year. Back to the mound. And Hansen not even going to bother with a runner at second base. Gave him a look, but he's taking outs now. We invite you to celebrate the craft of baseball for your chance to win a Chevrolet Impala and a trip to the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Visit ChevyBaseball.com.
You know, I talked to Murphy before the game about how the shadows might come into play today. And his answer was an interesting one when I asked him when it did. And he said, he had about 2 decent at-bats. He measured it not in time, but in at-bats. It's an interesting way to put it. And obviously, his third at-bat here, you can understand what he's talking about. The shadows now coming across the mound.
Isn't it interesting, though, how you talk to some players who are really bothered by the shade and the sun and that kind of thing, and you talk to other guys and they'll look at you like, you know, you have 3 eyes. They're like, it never bothered me a bit. Murphy puts a charge into this one into the shadows, and off the glove of Borges. Murphy on his way to third. Andrews scores, and it's a 7-3 game.
Again, Peter Borges is so good in center field, you almost expect him to come up with this ball after such a long run. Off leather. Nice and easy triple from Murphy once it kicks away from Peter Borges.
A 7-3 game, and here's Cruz, who's popped up to center twice. And there's strike. Action for the first time in the Angels bullpen. They have a left-hander. Sean Burnett, they just brought him in during the offseason. I'm sure at this point all Mike Scioscia is thinking about is let's get Hansen through the 6th inning. And it would be a job well done if he can keep it at 3 runs to the opposition, which is where he stands right now with a runner at third and 2 outs. And that is what he takes care of, and that's that. So all in all, a rock solid debut for Hansen. We're back to Arlington after a word from your local Fox station. Chevrolet. Beautiful sun-splashed late afternoon in Arlington, Texas. Great to have you with us for our opening weekend of Major League Baseball on Fox, the opening weekend of his 2013 season. And after the Rangers came away winners yesterday, it's been the Angels right from the get-go today. Trumbo shoots one over the head of Murphy into left field. Trumbo, who's also hit a 2-run home run, has his second hit of the afternoon.
First pitch swinging right here for Trumbo against Joe Ortiz. Jumps all over that.
Now Kendrick. Off the end of the bat, foul. Kendrick 0 for 2 is drawn. A walk was thrown out of the plate. And the ball hit off the left field wall by Callaspo back in the 5th inning. Beautifully played by Murphy off the wall. Threw a strike to Andrews, who threw a one-hop strike to Pierzynski for the tag. 1-1. Of course, here in Texas, Tom, you wonder about if there is such a thing as a hangover after what occurred last year. You know, you got to mid-September and they had pretty much as simple as it gets, a meltdown. Lost the American League West. Lost the one-game wild card right here in this ballpark to Baltimore. Led virtually the entire year, nearly wire to wire. Losing 7 of their last 9 to the Oakland Athletics. And the A's won it by 1 game. Now there's talk about perhaps unhappiness involving Nolan Ryan. You see 178 days in first place were the Rangers last year. John Daniels, their general manager, promoted to the presidency. Nolan Ryan still the chairman. And I mean, article after article, the talk during all of spring training was how bad the end of the year was, how bad the offseason was, and how bad things are right now as far as some of the moves in the front office.
There's no doubt this franchise is a bridesmaids franchise. You know, close enough to get there, but, you know, haven't closed the deal. Certainly going back to, think about the Josh Hamilton home run.
Sure.
In the World Series against St. Louis, Game 6. That looked like a storybook finish for him and the Texas Rangers. First World Championship. Not to be, obviously, with that historic rally by the Cardinals. And last year, you mentioned it, first place for 178 days. Oakland was in first place for 1 day, was the one that counted.
Yep.
Last day of the season. And now, as you mentioned, spring training, the narrative has been about the front office. Will Nolan Ryan stick around here? What is his role? I don't believe that's affected the baseball operations.
Off the body of Beltre, and that'll be an error, I'm sure, on Adrian Beltre.
That is a loose string that I think really needs to be tied up, sewn up here in Texas. What is Nolan Ryan's role?
But from what you've been able to gather, you get a look at Beltre, unable to handle this hot smash. You know, look, you've been writing as the main man in baseball for Sports Illustrated for a long, long time. I mean, what is your feel about, you know, why there would be any issues going on? Is it ego? Is it anything else?
It's a good question. We really need to hear from Nolan himself, which we really have not in any detail. He was here yesterday, obviously, for the home opener. Did not make himself available, as he normally would in past years. Again, I don't think it's something that has affected the baseball operations. I think whatever discomfort there is in the front office right now regards more about job titles, power, certain hirings in baseball operations, not necessarily player moves. But you would think that Nolan Ryan, with everything he has to offer, I mean, he does have a 3-year contract, 3 years remaining on his contract here, will be a part of the future, but it is in doubt.
And certainly everybody hopes all over baseball, whether you're a Texas Rangers fan or not. I don't care who you root for. Having Nolan Ryan as a part of any baseball team, but especially here. There's a bunt. Nearly misplayed. The duo of Moreland and Ortiz, they get the out at first, but give Callaspo the sacrifice. And just to finish that thought, I think all of us agree you're rooting for it to work out. For Nolan Ryan to stay right here with the Rangers. It's good for the game.
It's good for the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
You know, any future for the Texas Rangers is better with Nolan Ryan being a part of it. There's no question about that.
So now Iannetta infield in the air right field. This will bring in another run. Cruz accounts, tagging and scoring is Trumbo. On the third goes Kendrick. And the lead swells back to 5. It is an 8-3 Angels lead. Well, now it's time for the Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stat. And it's all about Big Albert. His first 2 home runs of the season here today. We brought up earlier, he did not hit his first home run last year until May the 6th and wound up with 30 of them. That's all Mike Scioscia said to us before the ball game today. I want to start hearing loud noises from the dugout when guys like Pujols and Hamilton and Trumbo are up there at the plate. And he's heard them today. Albert 2 home runs, Trumbo a home run and a double.
Yeah, I think the comparisons to last year really not in play at all. Even Albert coming in with 1 hit in those first 4 games, he did hit some rockets that are not going to show up in the batting average and box scores. They like the way he was swinging the bat. They love it today. That shows you the confidence. We talked about Borges with his extra base power at the 9 hole. You know about Mike Scioscia, likes to play National League Baseball. When you bunt with the lead for your 8 and 9 hitters, Iannetta and Borges, it's a lot of confidence, and rightly so. It also speaks to no lead being safe in this ballpark.
And that'll be strike 3 on Borges, which will end the inning out in Vandergrift Plaza, straight away center field. Statue to the great Nolan Ryan. His team trails 8-3. Sponsored by Scott's, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball, and by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Ah, yes. They say everything's bigger in Texas, especially some of the new food they have at the ballpark this year. Take a look. The Beltray Buster. Pound of beef, half pound of bacon. The Murphadilla. 24-inch quesadilla topped with brisket. After David Murphy. The totally rawsome broomstick. A new take on the famous boomstick. That's from Nelson Cruz. Now Ravi Ross. 2-foot hot dog. With all the fixings.
Chili and beef brisket on that. You know, when you buy that, it comes in a cardboard container with handles. You need handles to carry it off.
There it is.
There it is. I mean, when you're buying a food piece that you can't even take on a plane, it has to go through checked baggage, you know it's pretty darn big.
Now, if you had to have any of the three, okay, you got the Beltray burger, you got the quesadilla thing going, and now you have the thing that requires a tag to check it. Which one are you going with? The dog, the burger, or the quesadilla? What do you have?
I'm going with the dog. Anything that comes with a piece of luggage, it's like an extra value. Right. Are you kidding me? Food's so big it needs handles. It's Texas.
Sean Burnett now taking over on the mound, replacing Hansen. And his Angels debut, Tommy Hansen, 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs. Did not walk a batter. Struck out 4. And if this Angels bullpen can get these final 9 outs, Hansen will be a winner, of course, in his Angels debut. Matt Harrison, the pitcher of record for the Rangers. And there's strike 1 to A.J. Pierzynski. A.J. has popped up to third, singled off the wall and right. Burnett was not very sharp in the series against Cincinnati before they got here. The final game he pitched there, he pitched well. But in game 2 of that series, he came on to face a pair of left-handed batters, Shin-Soo Choo and Joey Votto, and walked them both.
Yeah, he's an important piece, though, for Mike Scioscia, because he's not just the left-handed specialist. He can get right-handers out as well. Although you see with the way he throws, Tom, the cross-body motion that he has. A.J. Pierzynski, he's bailing on these pitches. A very tough look, a slingshot look. In fact, it's amazing that most of the Angels pitchers, especially out of the bullpen, especially Jared Weaver, in the starting rotation, you see a cross-body delivery.
And he takes care of the left-handed batting Pierzynski to begin the bottom of the 7th inning.
Most of them throw the same way, cross their body like that. In fact, Brooke Jacoby, the hitting coach for the Reds, said to Mike Butcher, the pitching coach for the Angels after that series, "Do you have anybody that throws straight on?" It's an interesting look because a lot of clubs, and I know Kevin Towers of the Diamondbacks is a big believer in this, really like a lot of different looks coming out of the bullpen.
Mitch Moreland, another left-handed batter.
You can see where his landing, where his front foot, the right foot starts out and where it finishes is not going straight to home plate. You see that dirty mark there at the bottom. That's where he lands with that front foot.
Burnett coming off a nice year, pitching in better than 70 games with a sub-3 earned run average, low opponent's batting average, pitching for the National League Eastern Division champion, Washington Nationals.
There you see it. A lot of people also will tell you mechanically it's difficult to do, could be tough on the arm, but Burnett, it works for him.
Well, there are a lot of people, I recall like it was yesterday, there were a lot of people that thought when Jared Weaver came up to the major leagues and throwing across his body that wasn't going to last very long. Well, Weaver's been pretty good.
I'd say so.
20-game winner a season ago.
Well, I think Mike Scioscia has to be happy with the outing that Tommy Hanson gave him. Even if we didn't see that A-plus fastball we've seen in past years from Tommy Hanson, that was a strong outing for him.
Still 2-2 on Moreland.
I think it's something to build off of. And again, he can spin the ball as well as anybody. You saw him go to that curveball a lot. Certainly had good command of that. On a day where the ball has been jumping against a very good lineup, I think Mike Scioscia has to be happy with that outing.
Back-to-back strikeouts against left-handed batters for the left-hander Burnett. Let's take a peek ahead of next week. Fox Saturday Baseball. 3 great matchups. The Atlanta Braves take on the Nationals. NL East rivals. World Series champion Giants will take on the Cubbies from Wrigley Field. And Tom, you will be at Fenway Park.
Great matchup right there. Looking forward to that one.
Presented by Chevrolet. 12:30 Eastern time next week. So we get started 3 hours earlier next Saturday than today.
So if I have one of those boomstick hot dogs now, will I have digested it by next Saturday?
Certainly. You'll be feeling strong.
Okay.
You'll be feeling good later tonight.
By the way, on that burger, you did say a pound of beef and a half pound of bacon?
I did.
Does it come with a cardiologist?
Under the glove of Kendrick in the center field. And I tell you, they got some good-looking food here. Not just some of the stuff we showed. We were walking around, taking a look around this ballpark before the game, and saw some of the folks. The different dishes, tacos and quesadillas, and man, don't even want to talk about it anymore. We're only in the bottom of the 7th inning.
You could have lunch and dinner at the ballpark today.
You're right. So now Ian Kinsler, who homered back in the 3rd inning. That sandwiched in between a pair of pop-ups. There you go. Some nachos.
That's the small. That's
right.
not the large. That's the small.
That's
this
right.
is Texas.
That's exactly right. That's a kid's meal in Texas. Put down the left field line, and that one is foul and out of play. I think many recall Ian Kinsler putting his arm around Josh Hamilton last year when it was pretty evident the Rangers, barring a big-time comeback, were going to lose that one-game playoff to the Baltimore Orioles here. And after Hamilton had struck out for the 2nd time and the boos were raining down from the crowd here, Kinsler just walked up to Hamilton in the middle of the field and put his arm around him. Kinsler was reminded of that again yesterday. He said, you know, it wasn't. He said, I just felt like the guy was having a really bad day and a really bad couple of weeks, and just kind of felt like the thing to do. Hit hard, but the inning is over. And they've been hard on Hamilton during this day. But today, the Angels are smiling at least through 7, leading by 5. Are saluting our nation's veterans and military service members. 30 veterans and military service members, one to represent each Major League Baseball team, will be recognized at the All-Star Game in New York. If you'd like to nominate someone, please go to tributeforheroes.com. Great way for you to nominate one of our American heroes. Certainly we thank all of those that have served, are serving, and those that will serve. Standing tall, strong, and proud for the United States of America. Lined into right field. That'll fall in off the end of the bat. Mike Trout with a hit. Ortiz beginning his second inning of work. He came on to get the final out of the 6th inning. Allowed a run in the 7th, and now a hit by Trout to begin the 8th. Robbie Ross throws in the bullpen, another left-hander. Kevin Jepson, a right-hander, is throwing in the Angels bullpen. Strike one to Eric Ibar. These two teams will play 19 times during the 2013 season. So, yes, Josh Hamilton will be back a couple of more times this season.
Will it ever be routine, though? I mean, does he get the same treatment the next time he comes back in here? It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
You know, I think sometimes all of us are guilty of this. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. It doesn't matter if you're getting quoted over and over like Josh Hamilton is every day, or maybe the only person quoting you is your wife or your kids or maybe a neighbor or whatever it might be. But oftentimes we all say things, and we've all been guilty of it, where you don't realize how much it might sting somebody else. And I'm sure Hamilton did not mean anything in a nasty way, calling this a football town and not a baseball town. But for all of those people in this area that shared his story, shared in fighting off the demons of addiction, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, that fight every single day that people will tell you that have gone through that, are going through that. They pour their heart and soul into cheering for you, paying their hard-earned money to come out every single day, or whenever they can. Maybe it's one time a year. That stings when somebody says that about your particular fan base or your particular town. And I don't think he meant anything malicious by it. Do you?
No, definitely not. The irony again is a lot of those people booing him, they have Josh Hamilton jerseys and T-shirts in their closets. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's the most popular player. I mean, other than Derek Jeter, there was more gear with Hamilton's name on it sold than any other player across the country last year. Very popular player, in part because of his story, in part because he made this team, again, made this franchise, and made the city a baseball team, a baseball town. I'd hate to see him defined by that one comment going forward.
When it goes and they put the bat on the ball, Kinsler able to recover and throw out Ibar. 1 out. Now Pujols making his way to the plate. He's been on base 4 times today. A 2-run home run to straightaway center in the opening inning. And a solo blast to left center field in the 6th. His first 2 home runs in this opening week of the 2013 year.
Just a classic swing, isn't it?
Oh boy.
Albert Pujols now 45 career multi-home run games. I don't know how many multi-intentional walk games he's had. Trailing Alex Rodriguez career multi-home run games, 1 behind Mickey Mantle now.
Hey, let me jump. I don't want to interrupt you here, but while we have a quick second, from what you know about Alex Rodriguez, will he play again for the New York Yankees? I don't mean to throw you on the spot. I am throwing you on the spot.
Well, I think he will. Certainly there's doubt there. I'm not saying it by sure a certain thing, but certainly that's his goal. He's working towards that. Physically, he thinks he can do it. Whether there's issues there with the biogenesis clinic in Miami, that still is being investigated. If there's any tangible evidence they turn up, he could be looking at possible disciplinary action. So there's reasons why it's in doubt, but I would bet that he is. The idea that he would be bought out from the contract, I'm not buying that.
Okay. This is the third time they've walked Pujols in front of Hamilton. Now, yesterday, Holland got him swinging a couple of times.
Both times on breaking balls out of the zone.
And now today, after a walk and a run scored in the first.
Two more, same thing. Ortiz is a guy, I mean, his game is throwing that frisbee slider that he has. I'm not sure if he even throws a show-me fastball at all to Hamilton in this sequence.
So again, to put into perspective what we're seeing here today, for those of you just joining us, in his 5 years as a Ranger, 5 years, 4 times in 5 years was the batter in front of him intentionally walked. It's happened 3 times in the game today, and he is still hitless in the series. That's amazing.
Remarkable. And it's the right thing to do. And he's just not swinging the bat well, not seeing the ball well. And of course, Albert Pujols, you don't want to take any chances with him the way he is swinging it.
Well, now Ron Washington will come get Ortiz, and although no signal has been given yet, now it is. He wants to bring in Ross, another lefty, to face Trumbo. Not a right-hander coming in from the bullpen. A lefty, Robbie Ross, replacing the left-hander Joe Ortiz to face a right-handed batting Mark Trumbo. Trumbo, a 2-run home run to right field in the first inning, has since bounced to third. hit a rocket right at Kinsler in the 5th. Double to left field and scored in the 7th. Mike Trout, the runner out at second base. Albert Pujols, who is not running well right now, been bothered over the last number of years by plantar fascia in his heel and feeling some pain in his heel right now. That's why he's a designated hitter here today.
Yeah, I talked to him about that. He said it's a daily thing he has to manage. It's extremely painful.
It is.
He sleeps at night with a boot on to try to relax that ligament there at the bottom of the foot. He said it's like getting zapped with a laser on the bottom of your foot every time you take a step.
Jam shot pop up and the inning is over. Good job by Ross. So the Rangers will bat in the last of the 8th, trailing 8-3. Sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's never stop improving. And by Budweiser, great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Look into Big D, Dallas, Texas. Well, they've done some phenomenal renovation and work in downtown Dallas. That is a fun place to hang out these days. Kevin Jepson takes over on the mound for the Angels. He's one of the guys that was a part of the bullpen a year ago that they're really counting on to pitch well for him if they're going to get back into playoffs here in 2013.
I think he's a huge piece for them. We talk about strikeout stuff. He's got it. He's the hardest thrower on the staff. He'll go 97, 98. And surprise, surprise, he's another cross-body thrower. Sits up on the extreme third base side of the rubber. Very tough on right-handed batters.
Leury Garcia stands in the on-deck circle, and he would bat for Lance Berkman. Which makes you wonder, is Berkman okay? Hard one hopper off the bat of Andrews. Thrown out by Kendrick. Well, this year Fox Sports Supports is proud to partner with Feeding America, Johns Hopkins Medicine, and Stomp Out Bully. We'll raise awareness for these organizations all year long through all Fox networks and platforms. We're proud to support the work they do to make a difference in so many people's lives. To learn more, please visit foxsportssupports.com.
I did detect that surprise in your voice at this move.
Well, I just wonder, the first thing that naturally comes to mind for a guy, Berkman, who in recent years has had more than his fair share of injuries, especially last year when he only played in 32 games. Is he okay?
And again, in this ballpark, with this offense, 8-3 ball game, 6 outs to go. Yes, that's still a game that's in play if you're the Texas Rangers. This is not just, well, let's get guys in, forget them in purposes.
Big swing and a miss. This is his major league debut. He had an outstanding spring. Played for the Dominican Republic in the World Baseball Classic. Signed by the Rangers in 2007. Only 22 years old. Can play the middle infield, can play center field. And it's on the inside corner, and that's strike 3. So if we get any word from the Texas clubhouse on Lance Berkman, we will let you know.
Oh, you know, maybe Ron Washington does just want to get him into the game. I mean, it's been a week where they've had some off days. He's basically gone with his regular lineup each day this week.
Lance Berkman is still, by the way, down in that Rangers dugout. So hopefully he's okay. Maybe just wanted to get Mr. Garcia's major league debut. You're down 5 in the 8th inning. 2 are out, and here's Beltre, a hitless day, 0 for 3.
He definitely saw some major league stuff in that at bat. Mr. Jepson, he's sharp today. Fastball and that breaking ball. There's Lance. You know, it's interesting. I talked to him, Tom, about making this transition to DH. Remember, he's a guy who called the American League the Mickey Mouse League. Never a fan of the DH. Well, that's his full-time job now. And he told me he's not one of these guys who wants to go back into the clubhouse, watch the game on TV, and basically have 4 pinch hit at bats in the course of a game.
The ball shot into left center field. It'll roll all the way to the wall. It'll be a 2-out double for Beltre.
He likes to stay in the dugout between at bats, or in a little area right behind the dugout with a batting tee and a net. And he'll go in there and take some swings. He says he really wants to keep the feel of the game in the course of the game as a DH. Feel the crowd, feel what's going on the field, rather than going back into the comfort of the clubhouse. Everybody has to go about it a different way. It's a job that people really have to learn how to do. I remember years ago, Gary Ward was an outfielder. He went to the Yankees. They wanted him to DH. He could go back in the clubhouse and get on a stationary bike and pretend he was playing the outfield while on the bike. So if the ball went up in the air, he would pretend he was chasing it by pedaling the bike a little harder. Whatever you can do to keep the muscles loose and keep the mind occupied, but it's not an easy job.
I always love the line by the one-time Angel great, who is one of the great designated hitters of all time. There's a fly ball to left field. Should end the inning, and it will. Chili Davis said, for those guys that don't want to be a DH, let's be honest about it. Let's create the DF, designated fielder. You get the field and never get to hit. Then how you like it. top of the 9th inning. And now Howie Kendrick to lead things off against Robbie Ross, who came on to get the final out in the top of the 8th. Kendrick 0 for 3 is also walked. Angels won on opening day. Beating the Reds, it took them 13 innings to do it. They lost the next 2 in Cincinnati. Lost the series opener here to the Rangers yesterday. 3 outs away from their second win. The Rangers also lost on opening day. The opening day of the season against Houston. But they have since won 3 in a row. Andrews will throw out Kendrick to start the 9th. The MLB Fan Cave is back, place where some of baseball's biggest stars will visit and appear in Fan Cave videos. Check out all the latest cave happenings at MLBFanCave.com. And you can follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter and like on Facebook. Have you been to the Fan Cave, Tom Verducci? I mean, you are Mr. Baseball in print now and on television.
I must confess, I have not been there yet. Everybody who goes there, though, says how much fun it is. I'm talking about players.
I know.
When they show up.
And inevitably, every time a team goes into New York to play the Yankees or the Mets, there will be 3 or 4 players, if not more, from that visiting team that, you know, if it's a 3-game series, 2 games if you're in and out real quick, which are rare, probably doesn't happen. But virtually every team will have a number of players stop by there. There's ball 4 to Kayaspo.
Tom, I don't know if it's possible to have a big win for your 5th game of the season, but it's an important win, assuming they hold on to this lead here. Only because of the history of last season, that 6-14 start. Again, I really think it sort of poisoned their season. They know that's what cost them last year, was getting out of the gate so badly. So they're aware of, certainly better than anybody, the penalty of starting slowly. But again,
I think you use the right
1-3
word.
is not big, but you just want to change the narrative from last year.
Big could be the right word, especially when you consider the way they've done it today. We'll talk more about this after the double play will end the top of the 9th. But they're 3 outs away. They don't have it in the book yet. Take a look at our Burger King. Plays of the game brought to you by Burger King, where taste is king. Albert Pujols in the opening inning, a 2-run home run, added a solo shot in the 6th. His first 2 home runs of this season, and it certainly bears repeating. A terrible start for Pujols and the Angels last year. It was a month from this date before he hit his first home run, May the 6th. And now their closer, who picked up a save on opening day against the Reds. This is clearly not a save situation with a 5-run lead, but a little bit of work for Ernesto Frieri.
And not much mystery with Frieri. He comes at you with fastballs. Just as I say that, he breaks off one of his rare curveballs, but he's a guy who's going to throw about 85% fastballs. And once again, he's from the school of cross-body throwers and has many graduates in that Angel bullpen.
Hammered down the left field line. If it's fair, it's gone. It is fair, and it's gone. A home run for Nelson Cruz, his first of the year.
Cruz sat on that fastball. Eventually was coming for him, and he jumped it.
That makes it an 8-4 ball game, and now Pierzynski.
"19 times they play this year, right?"
Indeed they do.
I think we'll see some more games like this between these two teams with these hitters. 7 home runs. This ballpark especially, you mentioned Angels ballpark being a pitcher's park, but it's almost a fight to lift the ball here in the air. You're almost defending the home run ball playing in this ballpark, especially in the daytime and especially with the wind today.
What a play made by Kendrick to the glove side on a rocket off the bat of Pierzynski. Nicely done by Howie Kendrick.
You called it. This is great reaction. Hands more than anything, because that was not only hit hard, a difficult hop to handle. Kendrick is all over it.
So 1 down in the 9th, and here's Moreland. The American League West is going to be one of the more interesting divisions to keep an eye on during the course of this year. Houston becoming the 5th team to come into the division, and clearly the Astros are down. I mean, it's no secret. Trying to build that thing up literally from the ground up across the entire organization. New ownership, new league, a lot of new pieces, and a ways to go. Some feel like Seattle is better than a year ago. That remains to be seen. Oakland coming off a divisional championship. The Angels, a lot of talent, spending a lot of money on some big name players. Some of the great stars in the game, but have not been to the playoffs in 3 years. And then the Rangers, who have become the dominant team in the American League West over the last 3 years. Back-to-back trips to the World Series, a 3rd straight trip to the playoffs last year. First time the Rangers have ever done that in franchise history as well.
You know, there's some people, Tom, that actually say the Astros hold the key to the division in the way that I think it's going to be a 4-team race. And you need to take care of the Astros. I mean, really, 19 games against the Astros, you need to dominate that series to set yourself apart, because it's a dogfight otherwise. Last year, teams that went to the postseason went 17-2 against the Astros. And going back those years when the Yankees were winning American League pennants 4 years in a row, they were 9 games, 10 games over against Tampa Bay almost every year. Win the games you're supposed to win. and win them by a lot.
That's where last year the two playoff teams that were in Houston's division, the National League Central, for a year ago, both the Reds and the Cardinals both qualified for the playoffs, dominated Houston. And now those teams don't have Houston around anymore. Of course, there was a time when Houston was kicking their tails for a long time. They had some great clubs in Houston. Moreland out of there on strikes, and the Rangers are down to their final out of the afternoon.
Center fielder,
We got a visit to the mound here. Somebody in the dugout. Trainers, Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, coming out to take a look at Frieri. Make sure everything's okay.
Dino Ebel down there chatting with Mike Scioscia, and Mike Butcher will turn around and walk back to the dugout along with their trainer and the umpire, home plate umpire, Wally Bell. Frieri able to smile about whatever it was. It's good to see.
And he's not concerned.
No, but Mike Scioscia was concerned.
Well, I mean, you see anything out of the ordinary, you're going to go out there. Perfectly healthy right there. 94-mile-an-hour guess. I mean, it's amazing the way his fastball jumps on hitters, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It looks straight. He's got that life on it, and it's easy gas.
That was an outstanding trade made by the Angels last year to get Frieri. And that's all she wrote. So this series is even a game apiece. And they'll wrap it up tomorrow night here at Rangers Park in Arlington, Texas. A big story today, Albert Pujols. A pair of home runs when it's intentionally walked 3 times. It's the first time it's happened to an American League player since 1955. 8-4 our final. For Tom Verducci and our entire crew, Tom Brenneman saying so long. We send it back to Matt Vasgersian in New York.